France sent warships to join the Philippines and the U.S. Navy to sink annoying Chinese warships in the West Philippine Sea. France is ready to hold joint maritime patrols with the Philippines and the U.S. Navy in the West Philippine Sea. Its top diplomat in Manila said Wednesday, reaffirming Paris' bid to reinforce its role as a like-minded partner in the Indo-Pacific. French ambassador to the Philippines Marie Fontenelle made the statement after Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief Gen. Romeo Bronner Jr. said more states are seeking to hold air and sea patrols with the Philippines. So far, under my comprehension, we were ready to do so. So it might not really be us that would need the framework, she told reporters. We have always been told by the Philippines that the Philippines would need under your constitution the agreement, she added, referring to the Visiting Forces Agreement, VFA, between the two states. France has deployed its Navy ships to the South China Sea to promote freedom of navigation and push back against Chinese expansionism. China claims virtually the entire waterway and has constructed island bases protected by a missile system in the past decade, alarming smaller claimant states, including the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. The Philippines recently staged joint air and naval patrols separately with the U.S. and Australia in the South China Sea, provoking an angry reaction from China, which warned that the joint patrols should not harm its sovereignty and territorial interests. These activities seek to show resolve and support to the Philippines from countries that want to back Manila more directly. However, as pointed out during an interview with the Canadian ambassador to the Philippines on the same topic, to conduct a joint patrol of VFA or similar agreement is needed. After this meeting between Lecornu and Teodoro, a path toward French-Philippine joint patrols in the South China Sea has opened. France and the Philippines are waiting for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and French President Emmanuel Macron to green-light the negotiations on a VFA, which would provide a legal framework for the presence of one country's forces in the other. The possibility of joint patrol would come after the discussion on the Visiting Forces Agreement. That is, as I said, was a prerequisite or requirement before we could organize that, Fontenelle said. The envoy clarified that France's push to increase its presence in the region is under the ambit of its Indo-Pacific strategy that seeks to promote a rules-based order in the region. She added that France is also concerned over the developments in the West Philippine Sea. It's no doubt that for France and also for Europe to have an eye on what's going on here is a given, for many reasons, but of course, because of what's going on in the region, and particularly the West Philippine Sea we are concerned, she said. Meanwhile, Gilberto Teodoro Jr. said in a joint news conference with French Minister for the Armed Forces Sébastien Lecornu that they were seeking authorization from their heads of state to begin negotiations. We intend to take concrete steps into leveling up and making more comprehensive our defense cooperation, principally by working to get authorization from our respective heads of state and relevant agencies to begin negotiations for a status of Visiting Forces Agreement, Teodoro said. The first goal is to create interoperability or a strategic closeness between both armed forces. See how both navies work together, how air forces work together, Lecornu said through an interpreter. The Philippines has such an agreement, which provides a legal framework for visits of foreign troops, only with the United States, its longtime treaty ally, and with Australia. Negotiations between the Philippines and Japan are also underway for a reciprocal access agreement that would allow Japanese and Philippine troop deployments to one another for military exercises and other security activities. The Philippine and French defense chiefs agreed to deepen defense cooperation, including by boosting intelligence and information exchanges to address security threats, Teodoro said. They agreed to sustain Philippine and French ship visits and underscored the importance of upholding international law, including the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, he said. That language has often been used by the U.S. and the Philippines, along with their allies, in their criticism of China for its increasingly aggressive actions in the disputed South China Sea. Washington has repeatedly warned that it is obligated to defend the Philippines, its oldest treaty ally in Asia. If Filipino forces, ships, and aircraft come under armed attack, including in the South China Sea. The announcement comes amid joint air and naval patrols by the Philippines with the U.S. and Australia in the South China Sea. The Philippines, led by National Security Advisor Eduardo Ano, stated the intention to continue these joint patrols and potentially expand them to include other friendly nations like Japan. Ano, speaking from Thitu Island in the South China Sea, inaugurated a new Coast Guard monitoring station equipped with radar, satellite communications, coastal cameras, and ship tracking equipment. The move is aimed at countering what he described as China's pure bullying.